Okay, so keep continue with reading and writing the data into the file. Okay, so after this chapter, we will start with algorithm part, the data structure algorithm part. That is very honest with you guys. That is very hard to understand. It's not easy to understand. Okay, make sure you can attend the class and ask questions. Okay, no matter what, you found there's something you confused. Just raise your hand, then ask question. Okay, so next week very important. Okay, all the things will be very hard to understand, and most of the time, if you go to find the computer science jobs, they will ask about the data structure questions. Okay, that is not easy. Okay, so many people cannot answer the question. So make sure next week you will come every each class, and if you have any question, please just ask a question in the class. Okay, if and make sure you can read the textbook. Okay, because so far everything okay is about the syntax, how to use the class, right? But after this chapter, we will talk about more things about algorithm. Okay, how you design this algorithm, why this um, why this algorithm can solve the problem. Okay, how efficiency of this algorithm. Those things very it's not easy to understand. Especially, I don't want you guys to only know like how to use the class because this is the things okay in last semester we already know how use the class, how design the class, right? But right now you need to know why we design this class, okay? How you get this class, all right? Then it's good for you guys for next semester. You can start learning about algorithm and start data structure. Okay. All right. So today class will be like a little bit short. Okay, but it's very important. Okay, we will talk about these four things. Okay, what is structure files and how you parse those files into your application, how you're using scanner class to parse the data, okay? Then you need to know what is the object, okay, in the structure files. So first, there is one of the kind of the structure file is called the CSV, okay? This stand for commas separated value. Okay, so you can tell this data, okay, separate by the comma, right? Okay, the format, first we got record, so each row we stand one record, okay? And we use the comma to separate the value. Okay, you can see value 1, value 2, value 3. We're using the comma to separate different value. Okay, so there's some example. So if you have this file, okay, you can tell each line is one record, right? And each record has value using the comma to separate them. Okay, so for example, over here, on this line, we have one record, right? Debbie, 48, Chicago, Illinois, 100, right? So we got a different value. We can tell because we use the comma to separate them, right? So you probably you can guess, okay, there's one's people's first name, age, where they come from, right? What's the date, right? Maybe over here is money, right? So this is very important files when you use, if you experience more applications, you can find most the data they will write in this way. Okay, no matter you will learn the database or other structural files like JSON, like LINQ, they all use a specific way to separate the value to help you to sorting, to categorize, to searching. Okay, so once we know there's a kind of the files exist, you need to know how to get the value. Okay, using the Java, using the programming language. Okay, the same thing. We know each line stands for one record, and each record has a value separate by the comma, right? So we just get them out. So first time, we need to know, we need to get first the record out. Once you have a record, you need to know what kind of information you want to get out, right? So that's what we call the token. Okay, once you know the token, you need to define what kind of delimiter, okay, for this record, right? So for example, you want a token, maybe probably the first one, okay, Sally, right? Then you know these structural files using the comma to separate different value, okay, to separate different token. Then again, we use the scanner class. Okay, so scanner class, there's a method we called use delimiter. Okay, use delimiter will help you to get the value out, okay, separately. Okay, so the first line, okay, we're trying to read the file, which is data.txt, right? Once you read the file, there is a method to help you to separate each value out. Okay, let's say this example. What's this example tell us? What's this example trying to do? Mm-hmm. Yes. Right. So this type of code, they will do the three things. Okay. The first thing, they'll read this data. Okay. For example, this is the data they have, and separate them using the comma. Okay. So which means there is different token already in this code. F. Okay. So in a computer, they read this data. Okay. It's Sally there's no comma. Okay, Sally 27, St. Louis, Missouri 15.00. Okay, so once you know that, this while loop, we just want to make sure there's something in this line. Okay, so since we know each line we consider is a record, right? Record. So the first record, they will check there's anything in this line. The answer is yes. So they will go through this line, f.next. So at this time, the next means next value, next token, right? So what's the next token? What's the value for the next token? Price? It's 27, or it's Sally Jones. Right? So take a look at it closely, okay? Has nest basically determine whether they have anything in this line. Okay? And the nest means the first token. Right? So first token is Sally Jones. Right? They go next token. Okay, which is a number. It's 27. Then go next token, St. Louis. Right? Then go next token, MO. Then go next token, next double, the 15.00. Okay? So this gives us an idea. Every time we're trying to read one record, okay, each record we already separate them using the comma. Okay? Then we consider each value is one token. Then we use next method to retrieve each token, okay, by sequence. Right? Yes? Okay. Next thing is very important over here. You see there's next int, next double. Okay, why we should be doing this? Why we cannot just say, okay, I want next. Everything is next. Right? Okay, they don't have same data type. But the answer is in the files, okay, they all have same data type. Okay, but when we're reading them, we're trying to read them as a integer, as a double. The reason is in some scenario, okay, we can do something, okay, over here is a string. It doesn't matter, okay? But when we save them, actually sometimes we want to calculate, right? For example, if you read like ton of the informations about people, you probably want to calculate the average of the age, right? You probably want to calculate what's the maximum value, right? So this is good practical things we're trying to do. When we read some data, okay, if we already know the data have to be integer, have to be double. Okay, you can do it in this way, right? At the same time, if there's something wrong, you can find out in this line, right? For example, we're trying to read over here, the last line, we're trying to read a double number, right? But the last line, the data comes some error. They write something maybe M. What's happening? If last value, last token, we change to the M, what's happening to this code? What's happening? Okay, first, so M can be converted to the double? No, right? So when we perform in this line, they gave us exception, right? Yes? It's also give you a warning, say there's something wrong with your code, with your files. Okay? Because when we process the data, most of the time we have a bunch of data to process at the same time. You probably, this is a way to help you to verify your file is correct or not, right? Because we want the last token in each record, we have to be double. But sometimes maybe there's some mistake when people input them. Okay, there's something wrong happened. Using this one can help you to identify the problem and the potential errors. Okay, right? If you handle this exception, you probably can point out, right? You can say in this record, there's something wrong at the last token using the exception handler and keep continually to process multiple files without crash. Right? So using this code, it's not just to read the data or read the token from the file, but also it gives you a sense, okay, what's the problem with this data, with these files, right? It's not just, okay, I can easily to change each of them using a next. This is easy, but you need another method to verify these files if you change all of them using a nest, right? But at the first beginning, you already solved this problem. You can use this code to help you to find the problem, to verify the problem, right? That makes sense? Yeah. So there's one more line, very important. Since when we rate each of them in this file as a, a Unicode, right? So which means there's something, okay, no matter space or new line, they all has Unicode in here. Okay, right? So how you can tell? We can change to the next slide. We're using f dot next line to consume this next line character. Right? So if you still recall, the Unicode is means there's all the characters in your keyboard. They have Unicode to stand for. Right? For example, A, the capital A, the Unicode is different with lowercase a. There's also has a Unicode for the space, for the next line, for the tab, right? For the shift, for the control, for the all of them has Unicode. For these files, it's very different when you get them into your own Java code. Okay, we try to import these files from outside to your computer and make your computer to understand, right? So each character we will count, okay? So in this one, we try to move to next line. We need this light code to help you to consume this character, okay? That means they will read the last one over here. Once you read the last one, they will go to while loop to confirm this next line or not. Basically, this one will tell you, do we have next record? If there's next record, we will keep continually to process each token. Right? Okay. That's just a fresh out, okay? So first, we try to read the data, okay, from outside. Then using the method is called use delimiter, okay, to separate different token. Okay, once we separate the token out, the while loop will ask you to confirm there is something in your record. If there's something in your record, they will keep continually to read the data, okay, as a one token each by each. Okay, the first token, second, third, fourth. Okay, since we read them, okay, as a Unicode, so this line, if we're trying to read to the next line, you have to consume this character, next line. Okay? We're using this one. Okay? Then we'll go back with the loop to check whether there's something in the next record. If there's something exists, you keep continually to read the data. Okay? Make sense? Yeah. So I gave the animation over there. Okay. Try to back home. You can just go over. Okay. At the same time, we have another way to help you to retrieve the data. Okay. So in this one, we're trying to use multiple scanner to read the data. Okay. The big difference between the first one and the second one. This one, we're trying to read as a line. Okay? So that means f dot next line in here. It means we read by lines. Okay? So that means in this data, the first we'll get this line out. And separate them using a delimiter. Then you read them one by one. Okay, since we read them line by line, so which means it's not necessary we consume the next line character. So in here, there's no next line character. Okay? Because at the first beginning, we're just trying to read by line by line, not read them as whole characters. Okay? So let's see this picture. The first one, we're trying to convert everything, okay, as a character. Okay, which means token, separate token, separate token, separate. Next line has this one, right? That's once we're using the delimiter, we will limit this out. Okay, there's nothing there. Instead, we only has token with next line character. That's the reason we need to consume this next line character. Okay, but the second method, we're trying to make them line by line. Okay, T. Even if there's a character, okay, because we only read them by line. And in this line, we separate this token out. Once we finish all the token, we will go to the next line. Obviously, this character cannot be considered as a token, right? Okay, so there's two different ways, okay, you can just get the token out. Okay, there's one more way you can do. This is using the array to get your token out. Okay, so in this one, we're trying to read the first line. And in the first line, we separate them using the comma. Okay? That means, okay, T, 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 T. We read the first line. Since we're using the comma as a splitter, okay, we split them into array. Okay, based on array, we know the first element is for the name. The second is for the age, right? So that's the reason over there. You know the 0. First, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, to help you to get the token, okay, you need. So in here, why we need to convert? Yes. This array is a string. Right? It's a string. So once you want to convert them into the same data type, you need to convert them. Okay? That makes sense? Question? Okay. Since we know how to pass the data, okay, into a computer, okay, then use this data for your later, some calculation or processing, right? You need to know how to write the data into a file as well, okay? So this is an example, okay? So we know we're using a file output string, okay, to read the file. This is a file, right? And then you know this is true. What that mean? What's this true mean? For the file output string. What that mean? So for the file output string, okay, the first parameter stands for the file we're trying to write. The second parameter is a boolean. It tells you whether you want to append or not. Okay? Append is means if you already have something in your file, if append is true, all the files you write, all the data you are writing to this file will continually, okay, add to there. If this one is false, you will overwrite and from the beginning and rewrite the data. Okay? Make sure you understand true and false, what that means. Okay? Then we need to write the data. Okay, we write the data. Over there, you can see we're using the string with a separator. Okay, in here the separator is comma, right? Because we're trying to write the data into the CSV file. All the CSV files, they will read and using the comma as a separator. Okay? Then we use the print line, okay, to change the different lines. One more thing here. Can we use this character and remove the ln? /n is stand for next line, right? Can we use this one to write down here? Instead of using the print line. Okay, we maybe just change to the print. The answer is yes. Okay. The same thing over here. We try to consume the next line character. Okay, which means we can write next line character into a file as well. Okay? Right? Any question? Okay. So, say some example. Okay. This is a, you don't have to look at that too closely. It's okay. Okay. So this is a code. It's called JSON. Okay. It's also a structure files. It's most popular, okay, in your mobile application, in your website. Okay, people using these structural files, okay, to communicate with the data, with the servers, with the database, right? So for example, in this one, YouTube using these structure files to exchange the message. Okay, they will tell you different kind, different tag, different ID. Okay, more closely, Twitter using the structural files to exchange the data as well. So you can see here how many followers, how many friends, what's the list, what time they create, what's their favorite, right? What's the time zone? All of them, they list as a structure. Okay, for you as programmer, you need to identify those structure and use them in your application. One more, the Google Map, they also provide the API for you to use their service, okay, in your own personal application. That's the reason when you're using some applications, they probably using a Google Map to help you to, to search the place or locate the place. So how we're using the Google map in a third-party application. We need to know about the structure. What kind of a data structure, okay, they trying to exchange with your application. Once you know the structure, it should be easy for you to parse what kind of the token you want, right? For example, if you know the second one is a location, okay, you're trying to the Google Map API trying to deliver this location, okay, to your third party. You can take advantage of this message, okay, to change the place to help you to locate somewhere you want. Probably it's your favorite location, probably it's your favorite restaurant, favorite shopping mall, favorite grocery store. We're using this message to help you to do. Okay, so this is very important. You need to know, okay, what is structural files, how you parse the files, how you select the useful category for you, right? For example, for the YouTube, there's many categories there, right? But for you, you only want to select something, okay, relate to your application. You won't get something, maybe this only something you can use for your application. The rest of the category you don't want, right? So you can use that information. For example, you only want the ID, you only want the kite, okay, then deliver something. Right? Back to this data. If this is the data I'm trying to, okay, exchange with you, okay, you can get this data from me. But for your application, you only want to deliver, okay, maybe display the people's name. So you only want to get the token from the first column, right? The rest of the things you don't have to deliver, right? So this is very important, okay? I still think about give a project to help you to do some business analysis. Okay, this is very important. So in some business um, companies, they want to retrieve some data, okay, importance data from you know thousands of files. Then you can using some algorithm to predict what's the result, right? So for example, in some stock market, okay, there's multiple charts, okay, but some charts they probably has the stock name, stock or price with different dates, okay. So if you can retrieve all the data about the date and the price out, maybe from past 20 years, using only this code, compare you manually to select the price and the date from last 20 years. That saves you a lot of time, right? And same on the other hand, it also can help you to predict maybe every year, every year March 1st, this price, they always to the downtrend. You can take advantage of this predict to make market decision. This is using another algorithm which we call artificial intelligence, right? But all the data, how you get all the data? Data mining. You're mining the data, then you're using the algorithm to predict what kind of the result you want. You take advantage of that result for your own use. Right? So this is a very important part, okay? You need to understand what is the structural files, how you parse the file, how you write the file. Okay, once you know that, it should be easy for you to write something, okay, using other people's API, like Google, like YouTube, like Twitter. They all has APIs, okay? Right? Maybe sometimes you only want to get the message from specific people, right? For example, you want to get a message from President Obama, okay, in the Twitter. You only select the name, right? The other names you can exclude it. Okay? Then you get a notification only from President Obama. Because you know these structural files. Right? Right? Any question? Any question? So how many of you start with the assignment? Okay, good. Yeah, because I saw there's many people already watched the video. Okay, so make sure you watch the video, okay, and start your assignment as soon as possible. Okay, if you got question, try to find the tutor or schedule a meeting with me. Okay, so every Tuesday, Thursday, I have a time. If you have some problem, you have to find someone to debug for you. This is the time. Okay? Right. Any question? Okay, that's for class today.